faster than this Incineroar, will have the option to dictate which of Wolf's Pokemon will possibly flinch from takeout. And of course, the Rillaboom, the Ogerpon on Neil's side, not very heavily threatened by anything right now, could possibly take the chance to go straight for that focus energy.
And I think getting that focus energy in early would also mean that the Ogerpon is more likely to score those critical hits and really puts a lot of pressure on Wolf from a board position as well. Because if you know that your opponent has essentially a coin flip to deal a massive amount of damage to avoid any stat drops, to just play around those complications, you definitely don't want them to take that. But we see a Pokemon adjustment from Wolf. Tornadus will take the field, will lose its focus sash for its trouble, but seeing that Ogerpon went for a focus energy with the sludge bomb and the poison, that's the best you could hope for from that turn for Wolf.
100%, Gabby. That is a massive switch there. Wolf has not brought Tornadus to either of these first two games, and it pays off immediately. Neil leading the two grass-type Pokemon on his team is the perfect situation you want to find your Tornadus in. Now you have the option to go for a possible Tailwind, set your Pokemon up for a speed advantage later on. Even a Blink Wind Storm here would be really, really good. This Ogerpon is now the boosted critical hit rate from Focus Energy, but it is still only a 50% chance to score a critical hit. So it's not guaranteed that that Focus Energy will pay off, especially because the Sludge Bomb came through, dealt a ton of damage, and crucially put this Ogerpon on a timer.
Some people may also be wondering if Wolf is considering a Rain Dance on that Tornadus to try and weaken the fire-type attacks from that Ogerpon, but without confirmation about whether or not Neil's owner Shifu is on the field just yet. That is too risky of a play to make. Glick Storm will not connect with the Rillaboom nor the Ogerpon. Would hammer, though, into the Tornadus for a good amount of damage. Now this Amoonguss' Sludge Bomb will not connect with the Spiky Shield on the Ogerpon.
You have to respect the double into that slot if you're Wolf. You know, if you're using Blink Wind Storm, it comes with a possible chance of missing like we did just see. And you cover for Blink Wind Storm missing Ogerpon there. Unfortunately, you can't cover for missing the Rillaboom in that scenario, which does get some decent damage into Tornadus. But thankfully, Tornadus should still have the option to go for one final attack if it chooses to. The Tailwind with the Prankster ability will act first. And the Grassy Glide from Ogerpon on Neil's side might try to go first, but without enough damage to KO it, it will not go down even with the critical hit.
That Tornadus is unfortunately unable to go for a Blink Wind Storm this turn, as it will be taken down by those two priority Grassy Glides. But you trade your speed control Pokemon to knock out that critical hit boosted Ogerpon. I think that's the best trade that Wolf could get in this situation.
Not a bad trade at all. Seeing Neil's last two Pokemon, it will be the Urshifu and the Chien-Pao. And considering Neil only has 3 physical attackers remaining, the Incineroar on Wolf's side will be very important for the rest of this match. Rillaboom and Chien-Pao, again, both physical attackers. Rillaboom now down to -2 attack from that first Intimidate, and Chien-Pao at -1. The Amoonguss on Wolf's side here, we saw it be so important against the Chien-Pao earlier on in this match, especially if you do opt for the Water Terastallization, which would be very handy coming in against this Chien-Pao. However, you do still have to worry about the Rillaboom's Grass-type attack.
Sacred Sword from Chien-Pao into the opposing Incineroar to drop it down to below half its health, but the combination with the high horsepower, Incineroar is able to hold on. Flare Blitz is a one-hit knockout on that Rillaboom. Wolf will lose the Incineroar with recoil damage as a result, but talk about a great trade. Now this Amoonguss is free to terastallize, and he gets a Spore in as well.
I'm 100% okay taking that trade if I am Wolf. That is a massive survival from the Sacred Sword and the high horsepower combination, and of course, a huge one-hit KO into that Rillaboom. Now Neil and Wolf are both down to their final 2 Pokemon, but Landorus coming in. There is nothing that can protect this Urshifu from a possible Earth power. Landorus is a very, very strong Pokemon, and unless Urshifu is trained to be incredibly specially bulky, a combination of Rage Powder to prevent an Aqua Jet into that Landorus slot and an Earth power could be enough straight up for a KO here.
Both these trainers are down to their final 2 Pokemon. And remember, the title of a regional champion is on the line. And that's why you see Neil playing to every possible out. Will go for that stellar terastallization to boost the power of Chien-Pao's attacks. Once it wakes up from its sleep,
You have to wonder why Neil opted for the Terrestrialization there. This Chien-Pao cannot possibly wake up on this turn, Gabby. There's no way this Chien-Pao attacks, and this Terrestrialization cannot come in handy for at least one more turn. Lander is instead going immediately for a Terrestrialization of its own to protect itself from a possible Aqua Jet coming out from this Urshifu. Earth Power into Chien-Pao brings it down to its Focus Sash.
Chien-Pao barely able to hang on. Urshifu surging strikes into the Landorus with the Terrestrialization. It's going to be enough to knock it out.
It's enough for a KO into Landorus, but I think that's all Wolfe needs was that Earth Power into Chien-Pao. Really smart targeting there because if Sludge Bomb comes through to KO this Chien-Pao, it will be a 1v1 Urshifu versus Amoonguss, and that is exactly what Wolfe wants.
Amoonguss is not the most offensive Pokemon that you would think of in the Regulation F metagame, but it is the Pokemon that's carrying Wolfe Glick's hopes and dreams of a repeat regional win in this season. Urshifu on the other side of the field, the Pokemon you think of for Regulation F and VGC, trying to find an opportunity, find the damage it needs to take this Amoonguss down.
I really just want to call out how smart that Terrestrialization from Landorus was for Wolfe on that prior turn. Doing that means that it drops the water type weakness. Even though we saw it get knocked out by Surging Strikes anyway, it couldn't possibly be knocked out by Aqua Jet. All Wolfe needed was one Earth Power into the Chien-Pao, which could not wake up, could not protect. It's guaranteed damage. The combination from that and Earth Power and Sludge Bomb from the Amoonguss enough to KO it. And Wolfe very confident, just like we are, Gabby, that I think this Amoonguss can 1v1 the Urshifu, especially considering it just got put to sleep. It's got to take a couple turns to wake up. And this Amoonguss still has the Citrus Berry at its disposal.
It still has the Citrus Berry, and it is running Sludge Bomb, which looks like it will be about a 3 to 4 hit KO, depending on how much damage it does. We see the Urshifu wake up after a single turn of sleep. Will activate the Citrus Berry on this Amoonguss. But I think the most important thing to look for here is just when will that Amoonguss be in close combat range? As the odds that Wolfe went for a Spore this turn are so low.
They really are. Sludge Bomb comes through, and I think the worst thing that can happen is a poison here for Wolfe, because you really want to put it back to sleep this turn. If it was poison, that is not an option. Surging Strikes comes back through here from this Urshifu. Will attempt to put Amoonguss in close combat range. Gabby, like you called out, close combat, despite the critical hits from Surging Strikes, is slightly stronger at the end of the day.
It looks like both these trainers have heads up, waiting to see how this game will play out. I think this is one of those situations where Neil knows that he has to keep clicking Surging Strikes until it's close combat range. Wolfe knows that he needs maybe 2 more Sludge Bombs to knock out this Pokemon. Here comes the first one, 6 HP. We saw it wake up after one